definition of the word ego. Describes a mediation between, or mediating between the conscious and the unconscious. What an ego seeks to do is identify with self-awareness. It is a 19th century Latin word, egolus, which literally means I. So take ego and take I, and you have one and the same. Ego, I. Ego can be a very dangerous thing. It's not good or it's not bad, but it's based on how you allow your ego to affect your behavior. There was once a scientist, after a lot of practice and efforts, he developed a formula that he learned the art of reproducing himself. And as he reproduced himself, he did it so perfectly that it was impossible to tell the reproduction from the original. And one day while he was doing his research, he realized that the angel of death was searching for him. So in order to remain immortal, he reproduced a dozen copies of himself. So now the reproduction was so meticulous that all of them looked so exactly like him that the angel of death, when it came down, was at a loss as to which of the 13 before him was the original scientist. Confused, he left them all alone and returned back to heaven, but not for long. The angel had an assignment, and being an assignment for human nature, that angel came up with a clever idea. He said to the scientists, addressing all 13 of them, all over the place, "Sir, you must be a genius to have succeeded in making such a perfect reproduction formula of yourself. However, I have discovered a flaw in your work. Just one tiny little flaw." Marilyn, the scientist, immediately jumped out and shouted, "Impossible! Where is the flaw?" "Right here," said the angel, as he picked up the scientist from among the reproductions and carried it on. The whole purpose of the scientist and the formula of reproduction failed, as he could not control his pride and ego. No matter how many times you try to make somebody believe that you are who you are not, at some point in time in life, it shall be revealed who and what you really are. Oh, I can't get anybody help me here. And no matter how many times you would wish that someone would whisper and give you all the sweet nothings that you want to hear and tell you what you want to hear, I strongly despise being surrounded by people that tell me what I want to hear. I want somebody to tell me, praise God, some things that I don't want to hear, because I want to be challenged to be a better person. And your beliefs about yourself, they form what I call your script of life. They form your script of life, and consciously and unconsciously, they define what you believe and what you are capable of creating. Listen to me closely. The ego is like a dedicated actor. That ego sticks perfectly to the script. The ego's job is to confirm your script and try to make it real by creating its own reality. And what happens is it therefore then drives your actions. You then begin to try to nurture, or the ego nurtures the seeds, because you begin to want to experience what you thought was real. Now, people who self-defining is in sync with the harmony of what I call the moments of reality. The moments of reality was happening around them, the moments of reality was happening to them. People who are in sync with reality are generally grounded.
Yes.
These kind of people are really down to earth. They're usually comfortable with themselves. And they appear to be calm. And even when they express or talk about themselves, they're calm in expressing in themselves. In fact, they're quite unconcerned about how other people or what other people think of them. Because they are in sync with reality and they have their own self-identity. And their identity is in harmony with reality. And in this particular type of person, the ego has little work to do. The ego has little to do. The ego does not have to mediate between the conscious and the subconscious, because this person is in sync with reality. But on the other hand, a person who is out of sync with reality, they're perceived to be, when we get the terminology, out of touch. And I met some out of touch Christians. Some out of touch people in society. And somewhat delusional, because they have this inflated ego. An ego that constantly makes them unsettled. An ego that makes them always appear to be uncomfortable. Have you met people like that all around there? It's just uncomfortable all the time. Just uncomfortable. It's hard to gain their attention. They got to have all the attention. They have the inability to relax. They can just never kick back and relax. Drama seems to always surround them. You know, drama in their home, drama in their relationship, drama on a daily basis. And their view of who they are is consistently at odds with the evidence of what I call reality. And so, the ego, in this particular sense, has to constantly get work. Constantly get work. The ego is constantly at work, and when trying to distract them from the truth, to reconcile them to their own truth. I'm going somewhere. And this ego will go through any length to accomplish this self-validation. This ego will fight for any belief in you, even though that belief may be out of touch with reality. Its job is simply to produce the experience of something that is not real. Its job is to produce, or has a mission, to take your beliefs of yourself and turn them to the experiences of yourself. Say it again. To take your beliefs of yourself and turn them to your experiences of yourself. And you know, a lot of people don't understand this, but your ego is always under your direction. The ego has trouble convincing you that you are who you think you are. It develops what we come to know as mind tricks. People start saying, my mind is playing tricks on me. Because the ego will produce or create any type of illusion, any type of trick. It will use whatever means necessary to help you feel sufficiently validated, even if you're out of touch with reality. And when the ego finally exhausts all of its illusions, all of its manipulations, all of its rationalizations, all of its denials, all of these tricks, it is forced to make the ultimate submission to the truth.
Yes. Yes.
Told you last week that everything in this creation of this world is matter. That's visible is matter. Physical is matter. And matter takes up space. And I told you last week that the matter that takes up space uses force to take up space. Today I'd like to offer to you on this side of the spiritual side that in order for truth to exist, your spiritual being must use spiritual force to accept the truth. Because if you don't use the force to accept the truth, your ego will take you another direction. Your mind will play tricks on you. You will think you are right and know you're not right. I can't get nobody help me get somebody. It's like the person who thinks that they are the most fashionable person walking here. And they have to keep up this facade, this social mask of disguise, this ego, which makes them think that they have to be the person, the best dresser. You know, when I step out, girl, I got to look good. Everybody know I don't step out without looking good. And I'm the one that, you know, when I step out, I got to have the best clothes. I got to have the best, because in their mind, this ego is creating pictures, sensations, feelings, sounds. And guess what your ego will trick you into doing? Your ego will trick you into ignoring your Western Mass electric light bill and going to the mall and spending your light bill money